Welcome to another episode of One More Round, the Rocky Series podcast. I am your host, and with me today is Katie, and those who are watching this on YouTube, you're probably seeing an unfamiliar face, that's fine, but maybe not an unfamiliar voice. We have Jared. Jared, why don't you just say who you are and where you're from, and maybe what you've done with me, so the listeners might know this here.
Well, my name is Jared Tockstein. I host my own show with my buddies, the Hyperspace Podcasting of the 25th Century. You may have heard me on this podcast network with Ryan on the world's foremost Burt Reynolds podcast, where we've talked about two of Burt Reynolds' late 80s classics, Heat and Malone.
Sorry, I don't know why. Yes, it's true. Those are all true words. I mean,
yeah. Those are all true words.
Yes, we recorded Malone, which at the time of this recording has not. I haven't even. I think that's going to be a.
Was that a spoiler?
No, that's a tease, not a spoiler. We want to tease our audience that come September, that episode will be out. The episode of Malone will be out, and I just want to say, as a tease, I freaking loved that film. I just thought it was so much fun to watch and fun to talk about. It was at the end of that episode that you and I discussed that, wow, I think we're just going to have to do another Burt Reynolds film, which then leads us to discuss, we're like this weird sub Burt Reynolds podcast within the podcast within the podcast. It's very meta. This network is becoming insane.
I've never heard of that movie before.
Oh,
Malone?
Neither have I.
Oh, okay. I was
There's probably a good reason.
Okay.
How dare you?
Can I just say, Jared, you have the most spectacular radio podcast voice ever.
I know.
Oh, well, that's very kind. Thank you. I'm blushing a little bit.
I know. I love his gray hair. It's amazing. I love it. I love his coif. Look at that full set of hair, and it's just a silver fox. He looks amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my wife loves it.
Yeah, I want to say this too. I was going to say this, Jared. We won't blow too much smoke up your butt, but yes, you have a great voice, great face. Jared's the type of guy that I've done a few episodes with now, and he also guested on It's a Long Road, the Ramble series podcast.
Yes,
so he's done that as well.
True.
So if you're a Ramble fan and you haven't checked out my other podcast called It's a Long Road, the Ramble series podcast, Jared was one of the guest hosts on one of those episodes of the first season, and he definitely will be coming back. Whether it's the second, third, or fourth, I actually got more guest hosts than I thought I was going to get, so not everyone's going to repeat every season. So that's just FYI to anyone who listens to both shows. So not much has happened in the Sly world as far as more Instagram stuff at the time of this recording. For episode 11, for those that are tracking, because this episode only comes out every 2 weeks, and sometimes we record quicker than I release. Just what I record when I have time. So sometimes the news that people are hearing when they're hearing this on their earbuds or watching on YouTube isn't always up to date. So I just want to say that regarding my deep throat, I did talk about it a little bit at the beginning of episode 11. I did a quick live interjection as I was editing just before I released. It was just before I released that episode, I came on camera and voice and just said, hey, this is who my deep throat was. Because I almost got into a literal YouTube war with a very accomplished YouTuber called Viking Samurai, because one of our listeners, in fact, I can say who it was, Hector Canales, our favorite wrestler, he hit me up 11 o'clock at night, just before I was about to fall asleep, saying, oh man, I just saw this Viking Samurai video, and it's already got 6,000 views. He literally said the same things you said, Ryan. So that's how that happened. So then I went to the video, and I couldn't believe it. The two things that were brought up were the Bill Chardoff, the son of Robert Chardoff, was that he's a Sly supporter, but Irwin Winkler has overall rights. So that was one thing. The other thing was the sons, Irwin Winkler's sons, following Sly around the Rocky Balboa set, telling Sly you can't say that, or trying to influence Sly to whatever. I don't know why they would want to make a bad product, because it's still a film they're producing. So all that being said, Viking Samurai brought up those very things. You can't Google that stuff. So at that moment, I thought to myself, oh my gosh, he watched my video that has 100 views. Nobody watches me. And this guy's ripped off what I thought was sweet intel or unique intel just to me, Ryan. I thought he'd rip me off. Guy literally wrote on his YouTube page, hey, dude, thanks for ripping me off. You could at least give me credit. Because he also ended that video by saying, wait till you see my next video where I give you more intel about Creed 3, which again, on my video, I talked about how in Creed 3, there's a storyline within the Creed 3 film as of right now about rape or sexual assault in that film, that it's dark, and that Michael B. Jordan has hit up Sly to please save my film, and Sly has said no. So that's big news, I thought, when I released that on one of my episodes. Anyways, so I thought again, oh my, this guy ripped me off. And I sent him like a nasty gram on his YouTube channel. I went to bed, could hardly sleep. Then I woke up the next day, and I gotta be very careful here I don't say any names. So there's a few people that I have in my peripheral online life that I can talk to about certain things in the Rocky world. So I sent a message to an individual, and I won't even say if this individual was or wasn't the Deep Throat. I gotta be careful. So this individual was like, no. There's more than one person giving this information to other creators. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So I quickly deleted that, quickly deleted my thing I put on my Facebook page, on our podcast Facebook page, where I felt hurt. Then I felt stupid. And then I talked to another friend, and he also has a close connection to Sly. I expressed to him how stupid I felt and all this stuff. He goes, no, you know, how would you know, blah, blah, blah. So that was the journey that Ryan went through. I went from feeling pretty like... Now, look, I'm not going to say that this person who gave me the information, like, I shouldn't feel special. I just felt uniquely special that I was receiving information that I thought at the time nobody else was receiving. But it turns out other creators were getting the same information. So again, the information I was given was correct. The information I was given, Sly has kind of like unofficially authorized for leaks to happen about his feelings on the matter. I mean, he put it on Instagram, but also regarding the Creed 3 storyline that he's been asked to edit. Those kind of leaks, I think, have been authorized. That's why various creators are given the same information, because it just helps the Sly army a little bit. But I felt a little, I would say used, but I felt not as special because I was like, oh, I'm just one of the other. Anyways, I say that just because that's the journey I went through. I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts on all that?
When I saw the video that you posted initially, I thought, man, Ryan's got a legit exclusive here.
Yeah.
A legit scoop. So it's kind of disappointing to find out that this is sort of, I guess, I don't know, is this person leaking to a pool of people to try to get it out there?
And I think he or she leaked it out. Yeah, I think people that he still trusted and liked and thought would give it a good representation to the information they were given. Like Viking Samurai is legit good podcast and or YouTube channel creator, obviously a bigger following than I would ever have. So the information again is correct, but yeah, I just didn't realize that I would say one of many, but one of a handful. Yeah.
Another bum from the neighborhood is all I was going to say. You're just another bum from the neighborhood.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Back to Ham and Egger. Ham and Egger status restored. And I guess I wouldn't have it any other way. Oh, boy. Okay, well, let's get into it. Katie, you've got an email.
I do. Hi there, OMRP. I just found your podcast, which is exciting as the level of Rocky deep diving is pretty extraordinary. Thanks for all the content to date. Much appreciated and much to trawl through. I was just on one of your live Discords, which was fun. Hopefully we'll be there again when you record live. This is not really a question or discussion point, but thought I would share as about the cinematography of the first film. I directed and produced a feature film, which came out earlier this year. And the cinematography was really inspired by the visuals of cinematographer James Crabe's work on Rocky and Garrett Brown's Steadicam work and John G. Avildsen's direction too. Although my story is nothing like Rocky, it's more of a low-key British mystery drama chick flick with no boxing or stumble-bum dialogue. Yet the Steadicam walking and talking scenes like that of Little Marie ice skating, etc., was very inspiring to the visual style of my film. The crucial scene of Rocky on the bed talking about going the distance, possibly the most important scene in the film, was very inspiring to me from a plot point of view in relation to my film. I wrote/added a scene in reshoots after I'd shot the whole film, as preview audiences felt my lead character needed a little bit more clarification as to her motivations. Like that Rocky scene, she's even sat on a bed having a crisis of confidence in my scene too. Cough, rip off. It really helped the film and for an audience to understand where she's coming from more. Imagine if that scene in Rocky hadn't been there. As they were close to not filming it, flicking the lights off, it would have made the ending much less inspiring and defeat the point of the film, as he'd still be a loser. Whereas the scene of him clearly stating his intention to the audiences makes his loss not a loss and grounds the audience to know that's actually the point of the film. I'm not hawking my film or anything, or comparing my zero-budget drama to the Oscar-winning classic film, but thought I'd give you an insight into some of the creative process and how the film inspired me. Kind regards, Simon Drake. Wow, we have some super talented listeners.
Well, his film could be crappy, so I wouldn't give him too much credit. No.
That's awesome, Simon. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, that's amazing. I agree. Yeah. I totally agree with you that we have a legit filmmaker. So what I love about Simon, because I'm not trying to hawk my film. Well, you didn't, Simon. You did a horrible job hawking your film because you didn't even say what film it was. So I had
what is it?
Yeah, I had to do my own research. I had to IMDb this guy and figure, hopefully with the clues that he gave, that it's a British film, it's some crime, and it's a chick flick crime drama or whatever. So the one thing I got was a Simon Drake film directed in 2022 and released in 2022, I should say, is a film called Lost Angel that fits his description. So, but the synopsis here is: news of a death sparks a young woman's quest for justice. So that sounds like what he expressed there. So good for him. This is one of his 2 films he's directed. He directed another one in 2018 called The Angel on the Ceiling, another feature film. 2 feature films to his credit. So good for him. So he might be an up-and-coming director. I don't know how old he is. He could be 20 or 70. I don't know. So thank you, Simon, for those awesome thoughts. And I always love hearing from people. We haven't got a lot of emails lately. We're speaking of which, Hector Canales, our favorite wrestler, he used to email us all the time. I wondered, did he stop listening to our show? And I was right, he did. Not because he doesn't like our show, but the way he operates, he can only focus on one thing at a time, is what he said. It's weird that way. So he's going to binge us very soon, but he has stuff going on in his life where he didn't want to listen to us because he wouldn't enjoy it the way he would like to enjoy things, so he's going to binge us. So Hector is still aware of our show, obviously, because he emailed me about that Viking Samurai. But anyways, I just wanted to give a shout out to Hector that when he gets to this episode, we love you, brother, and we hope you're well. Okay, remember my last episode, remember on our last episode where I mentioned that Sly liked my Instagram post, and then but then I went back to the Hammer and Nager status where he likes arbitrarily.
He likes everything,
or he seems to like things that contradict his very mess. Like specifically, he's griping about Erwin Winkler. People are like Team Erwin in his comments, and there's a like by Stallone's account.
They're just seemingly random,
random at the very least, or contradict. Yeah, they contradict each other. Well, one of our listeners, Gino, he's a listener of our channel. He actually watches the YouTube versions of these channels, so that's kind of cool. We do have a few now that actually go to the YouTube video only. That's how they watch our show, so we'd like to thank those guys. So Gino's one of them, watches that on YouTube. He said that I'm in a Rocky Collectors group on Facebook. I think I've seen that group. It doesn't really interest me. Memorabilia stuff doesn't really interest me. But however, there's a Rocky Collectors group on Facebook, and someone posted their like from Sly. So they got a like from Sly. They felt really great. And on the comments, there were people explaining that it was all automated. And it kind of hurt the guy's feelings. He goes, yeah, and I imagine it's just a setting in Instagram that people with large followings, like these verified checkmark people, that they can use. So they don't have to actually physically like hundreds of comments or paying somebody or assigning somebody else to do it. So it's an automated system. So that's why often these like comments do seem to happen at the beginning of a post from celebrities. They might have a setting where it's like every comment for the first 90 seconds, 2 minutes. Depends on your following, right? Because you can get a lot of comments can pour in. So people on the Facebook group mentioned that it's probably automated. Gino says it's automated. He says and I agree, there's no chance that Sly himself is physically liking comments. I would say he does comment though on some comments, so people from people that are his friends or trusted sources, he will like those. And every now and then there will be someone's comment who's a little peon like us, that he will comment. So I think if he physically comments on a question or something, that's him. Again, it's near the beginning of the post. But the automated comment, whatever that is or however that's done, it makes sense. So people on Facebook said the same thing, unrelated to our show, to another person. And that makes sense because why would he like my thing and then like somebody who's supporting Erwin Winkler's cause?
Not to rain on your parade, I've had a like comment by Sly on his Instagram as well. I was asking him a question about the director's cut of Rocky IV, and I asked him a question, but he didn't answer it, but he just liked it.
Sure. I like your question, brother.
Yeah.
Great question.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't love that setting even exists. It defeats the whole purpose of these platforms is for people to engage, and it's just like vanity engagement then. I don't know. I just don't like that.
I don't think I'll ever be popular, but there's I think he listens to the show for sure, but on our Twitter handle, the One More Round Twitter, there's a guy named Joey, and he actually said to me, he goes, I just want to thank you for always answering my DMs. He'll ask questions about Sly or the show or something, and I'll always personally answer him. Now, of course, it comes to the point that let's say we were hugely popular, I wouldn't have the time to answer that same ratio. But he actually says he appreciates it. And I think I would like to always kind of be that person, no matter how big we ever got, where we could interact with people and say, hey, we're just ham and eggers. We're all ham and eggers, right? At the end of the day. And I don't like it when people forget that. So, Donald said here in our chat, on our Discord chat, he goes, I appreciate him saying this. He goes, you're still one of a handful of people to hear it first, Ryan. Sly is still reeling as far as damage control goes. So that's nice. I appreciate that. Louise says, it's a BS system, but you always go the distance in our hearts, Ryan. Oh, thanks, Louise. Okay.
Aww.
All right. And then Donald says to you, Katie, well said, Katie, what's the point of a verified account if bots are doing everything?
Yeah. Silliness,
Yeah.
I tell you.
Before we get into today's episode, I want you guys to remind me to say something about...
Yes, I was about to remind you.
Jared, I actually have no doubt about that. I just happen to remember. I have a little bit of scatterbrain. Katie knows this. Well, Jared, you listen to this. Actually, I want to say, I'm a little bit... I don't know why I'm nervous, but Jared actually listens to the show. Katie, you've read his emails on our show. This is amazing that he's guesting. I don't know why I feel nervous.
I know, he's like the legit podcaster, too.
Well,
that's great.
I got to say, last week when Mr. Juergens contacted me, he said, would you be interested in co-hosting the podcast with Katie and Ryan? And I sat there for a minute and I thought about it and I was like, no. Those guys are the best. I'm just a ham and egger. It wouldn't be a very good show.
Oh,
and he goes,
my God.
Jared, do you believe that America and Canada is the land of opportunity? And I said, yeah, I think so. And I thought about it, and, here I am. I decided to take the shot.
Oh, we appreciate it. Yeah, we fired Kyle. Again, I think this is his fifth firing from the show. I think we let him go. I don't know how many times have we let Kyle go, Kyle's been here since the beginning. He's been here since, going the distance, like episode 5. He guessed it. Isn't that weird? He's not able to be here today. He's actually recording, I think today with Seiko is what happened. He's doing a Karate Kid episode with Seiko. Okay. And he's nervous. Because
it's Karate Kid. That's right. I keep forgetting because Kyle does karate, right? Like he actually...
So,
wow.
Yeah.
Jared? Yes, he does karate. Are you?
What do you got there?
You're going to play for Kyle's trivia. Your tally system will go to him. So, Katie, you write down the score, okay, and we'll give those numbers to Kyle afterwards, and then he'll tally it, okay? So, again, if you're in our Discord, we'd like to welcome everyone to our Discord. No answers in Discord. Play at home. Okay. If you want to join our Discord, come to the show notes, join our Discord. You can watch this stuff live and check all the stuff that Ryan... here's, for example, our last recording was an hour and a half long. Me, you, and Kyle did, Katie. And the episode was an hour 12. So I cut out 18 minutes of, some of it ums and ahs and us stepping on each other, whatever, to make it a smooth show. But there's stuff that I cut out where I'm like, I don't know if I want other people to hear that. So Discord people do get some legit, raw feelings or emotions. I've cut out, I would say, arguments that we've had sometimes, but some things I've cut out where it's like, it's hard to explain. Because when you listen to it again, when you're out of the moment, you think, okay, the listener might not want to hear that discussion, but the people in Discord get to hear stuff that the iTunes listeners don't.
Well, I got a question. So what am I supposed to do if I'm not...
You write down the answer. That's it. So we're going to give you the point. Do you not listen? I thought you listened to our show, Jared. Do you not listen to our show?
I do.
Okay, so
I'm sorry.
In our Discord right now, we have Rocco, who was 12 years old when he wrote this book.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. Some of the questions do read like a 12-year-old. No, I'm joking. I love you, Rocco. Okay, so...
Oh, man.
Ryan's on one today.
Good grief. This episode's going to be like 8 minutes long with all the offensive things you cut out of it.
Right. Yeah, it's Kyle that usually rags on Rocco. Poor Rocco. We love Rocco. He's a great supporter of the show. We love him. Okay, question 26. What is the name of the ring announcer? So I would assume the end of ring announcer name. So it's what is the name of the ring announcer? I assume it's the final fight. Okay, question 27. What animal cages does Adrian have to clean in the basement of the pet store? Gloria says, hey, go down and clean the blank. 28. True or false? Adrian is the owner of the pet store. 29. What year did Rocky win an Academy Award? Question 30. Who says don't leave town? I'm feeling pretty confident about those except for the first one. I'm not going to lie to you.
I think I might even have the first one.
I don't know. I think you're overcomplicating that first one. That's just my opinion.
The name of the ring announcer.
We don't say it now, do we?
No, we wait till the end. I have my answer, and I don't know if that's what you guys are referring to. Am I overthinking it? I could be. Oh, so Rocco says he was almost 10 when he wrote. He was 10 when he wrote this book.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Man, is he going into college next year? That kid?
I know. He's like Doogie Howser this spring.
I know.
Yeah, well, good job, Rocco. Wow. Rocco, we appreciate your support of our show and everything. And his father, E.M. King, is his father. He's been listening to Going the Distance since the beginning. So, put it this way, I started podcasting when Rocco was 6 years old. How's that for a little bit of trivia? You can put that in your next book there, Rocco. How old was I when Ryan started podcasting about Rocky? All right, so I think that's everything. That's all the business. So, let's get into the film. So we're at the part here where Jurgens is offered the opportunity to fight Apollo on the main stage. Jared, do you want to speak to this moment, though, before we move on? Like, what are your feelings on this moment in the film?
I think you guys said it well in the last episode. I think we know that.
We want to hear some unsound thoughts from you about this.
Oh, man. I think it's very well played and pretty realistic, because if you, as a regular person, are put in that situation, I think initially your reaction is going to be to just step away from it. No, I can't. This is too much. If somebody offered you in your career some gigantic promotion that maybe you don't feel that you've earned, of course you're going to sit there and be like, I don't think I'm ready for that. Rocky's talking about getting in the ring with the heavyweight champion of the world. I mean, he says it. He's like, no, that's not going to be a good fight. He's the best and I suck. Yeah, I really like this scene because I think it plays like it really would in real life.
Totally agree. He had every right to say no. And I think maybe sometimes as moviegoers we think, oh, why would he say no? I don't get it. But if you think about it, this is his profession. I'm a boxer. And you're like, I think, well, Kyle said it best. Like, I jog. I casually jog. I just do it to keep fit. I love running. I like listening to my music or podcasts when I'm jogging. Take my dog, and it takes my dog as well, so it gets her exercise as well. If they said, well, Ryan, we've heard you're a good jogger. The Olympic team has seen you jog. They like how you jog. We want you to represent the... I'd be like, are you insane? If I represented Canada, it'd be embarrassing. I'd be so far behind. I wouldn't want to be embarrassed for just me. So Rocky's feeling this is, and he actually, to skip ahead a little bit to the end of the film, he knows it. Even at the very end, he goes, I can't beat him. So I don't want to get too much into that scene because it's probably the best scene in the film. But, when he says I can't beat him the night before, he's right. This is insane that I'm doing this. And which brings us back to here. So I think we know at this point in time, it is a big opportunity. And I'm sure Jurgens twisted his arm. But the big thing was the payday. It's $150,000 in 1976. Would anyone in Discord, can you just do inflation calculator, for us? $150,000 US, 1976, what it is today. And this will give us an indication of what you or I would have been offered. So that's the thing. Maybe somebody came to me with, let's say, $300,000. That changes your life.
Yeah. And that's part of the scene we don't see is Jurgens making him that offer. They sort of cut it early. Yep. But you also got to think, at this point, it's after Thanksgiving. He wants to box on New Year's Day. That's 7 weeks tops to get in shape for a heavyweight championship
shape
bout.
Nothing, man. Shape nothing. They're afraid of me. They know they don't have a chance of me in front of the world. Yeah, but you're right.
He doesn't have a lot of time.
It was smart not to show that discussion about the finances, what have you. One, because it might not have been very engaging for an audience, but because the next thing we're about to get into reveals the amount. So we as an audience hear the amount with Paulie. That becomes pivotal here. So let's check a little bit of that out. Okay, so we cut to Paulie and Adrian's townhouse. For our listeners, we've got Rocky and Adrian sitting on the couch. You got Rocky cutting an apple with a knife. You've got Adrian with a little cup of tea. What I love already is now that Adrian's flower's been popped. Oh, yeah, the date.
Yeah, you said you had something to say about the date scene.
Okay, we talked about this ad nauseum. I went back to the source. And you say, well, who's the source, Ryan? Well, the man, Sly himself, okay? So, yes, I went to the director's commentary. Yes. But I had to. I had to hear what Sly, the author of the film and the characters, the man behind the thought process of what was going on here. And I also wanted to hear if he was going to mention anything about trapping Adrian with his hands. He didn't. Of course, what he did with that moment was he complimented Talia Shire's incredible acting. He just mentioned that at this moment, Talia Shire was just amazing. The way she was shy, the way all those things. Go backwards, though. He said at the beginning, because we asked the question, I think Kyle asked the question, what was it like to be a person who dated in those days? Remember? Well, duh. Sly would know what it was like. He was that age. He dated in that time. So he would know what it was like to date in the 70s because he was 29 years old when he writes this thing. So, of course, he knows what it was like to date back then and what life was like in the 70s, what the expectations were between male and all those things. Why don't we go back and hear what the man himself has to say about all the things we talked about? Okay.
Hey, you want to come inside?
This is one of my favorite scenes. I wasn't aware of it again at the time, but the way he's hanging from the door like an animal, just embracing this house, and there he is beckoning to this poor girl to come into this strange, foreboding situation. He's just trying to charm her, and there's a real childlike quality about the kid. Ooh, okay, again, she's at the crossroads. Any woman to walk into that place with that guy at that time has to be pretty much enamored with him. Talia was great in this scene too. She is, you can see that she doesn't want to go an inch more than she has to. She walked in there, boy, the charm from outside just disappeared. She's in a hellhole. Rocky's putting his hat on a bayonet, his jacket on a machete, and in 2 seconds, he's down into his tank top.
I could go for some music.
Flips on the records, romantic music, and they're not there for 12 seconds. But his childlike side kicks in with, first thing he talks about her, like, not a drink or anything, look at my turtles. Her body language, the way she's just standing there, immobile, like a little old woman, it's just paralyzed. The couch is something that I think would need a polio shot. The couch is diseased. Beer bottle stuck in it, whatever. He goes, come on over, it's a nice couch. Even she has to, like, almost laugh at this. It's like, come on, really, gotta get out of here. But slowly she's being somewhat lured into, she loves the guy. He's the only man that's ever given her any attention. So, but she needs one more moment, another hook to pull her in. She's being torn in two directions, and this is her old sensibilities. This is her guilt. This is her Catholic upbringing, saying, I got to get out of here because this goes against everything that I've been brainwashed into believing. And Rocky's just having none of it. He knows if she leaves, for him, it's like, it's over. It's a crushing defeat for any chance of them falling in love. He probably hasn't had a girl up there, maybe ever. Nobody says all men's apartments are the same. It's like, I've never been in a man's apartment before. It's like, he's doing anything, saying anything that just doesn't want to be abandoned.
I don't feel comfortable.
See, this I think is really great, very honest. He's not comfortable either. She's not comfortable, but let's make the best of an uncomfortable situation.
Don't go, please. Don't go.
This is maybe the best acting in the movie. Talia Shire just goes through 50 emotions without leaving that spot. If anybody ever wants to really study acting, just check her out in this scene. The longing, the desire, the fear, the anticipation. It's never been kissed. Great. Just a nuance.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. So all the things we brought up were true. She was totally enamored by Rocky. She wanted to be with him physically, but her hesitation had nothing to do with her physical safety. It was a religious upbringing. And Sly actually says in the commentary of being brainwashed. So at that time, at least when he did the commentary, he mentioned brainwashing because of religion.
Interesting.
So I think he's a spiritual person. I just don't think he's a religious person.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
She's enamored by Rocky. She wants to be there. They're both nervous. Oh, he also mentioned that by Rocky saying, well, I don't feel so great too, or I'm nervous too. That was him showing his vulnerability. They're both just equally as nervous. Yes, Rocky's not a virgin. She is. Oh, he also mentioned that was her first kiss. That's the first time she's ever kissed anyone.
Oh.
We kind of assumed that, but that's good confirmation.
When Paulie brings up that she's not a virgin, that is insight into his character because he knows that probably bugs her. That's something he can use against her. Like, hey, you're not a virgin, because he knows saying that's going to cut her.
And the only reason why Paulie's not a virgin is because he's either paid for it or the person,
of course,
or the person that he's been with is an absolute beast.
Yeah.
All right. Now check this out. Okay, here we go. So Donald looked up the math for us. $150 today would be worth $780,000.
Wow.
change your life. For one fight, that's a lot of money. So if somebody said, Ryan, I'll give you $780,000 US dollars for me, which would be close to almost $1 million Canadian dollars, to run it for Canada, do one race, represent Canada for one race, and you look like an idiot, and they'll be okay. Now we're talking. See, now I'm thinking. Now I'm reassessing the deal. Absolutely, of course. I mean, maybe I'll train a little bit harder. I've got 7 weeks to get a little bit better shape. But yeah, for $1 million, that would help my family out a lot. Okay, so I want to get all the information out. So I think that's good. Yeah, the author himself said Adrian wanted to be there. So enough with this entrapment crap. Yeah, okay. And it was religion. And he says she was brainwashed, so Rocky snapped her out of it. Because when you see this next scene, I want to bring all that up. Because when you see Adrian's is bubbly and she's so, I am totally a different Adrian. You'll notice how confident she is and just how, and she stands up to Paulie. We'll get to that. Okay, here we go. Apollo's here with Rocky, and Rocky's wearing his only nice sweater at this press conference. They're at this little podium here. It's on TV, and they're all watching this TV coverage right now. Rocky's done this earlier in the day, so they're now watching the broadcast on TV later in the evening. So Rocky's gathered everyone around. Hey, guys, you're going to see me on TV. And Apollo says, all right, fellas, that's enough pictures. So now here we go.
Pictures. We want to ask Apollo a few questions. Apollo, how do you like the city of brotherly love?
Well, just being in Philadelphia makes me feel patriotic. Beautiful people in a beautiful city coming up to me on the street wishing me the best. I love my Philadelphia brothers, and I'm proud to be an American.
Apollo, champ, Apollo. Why did you agree to fight a man who has virtually no chance of winning?
Look, if history proves one thing, American history proves that everybody's got a chance to win. Didn't you guys ever hear of Valley Forge or Bunker Hill?
Boy, Carl Weathers, I mean, his ability just... So the reporters are asking very good questions. They're saying, why are you fighting somebody who... Let me look at this guy. He's shorter than you. He's obviously not a professional like you are. And the same kind of... Like his record... I'm sure the record's probably public now. His boxing record's not very good. Why are you fighting somebody that has virtually no chance of beating you? Like, why are you doing this? You're going to humiliate this guy. Why are you doing this? But I love how he doesn't undersell Rocky. He's like, hey, anyone has a chance to win. And that's what I love about Apollo. He's always been... He's promoting himself. Yes, he doesn't want... But at the same time, he's not saying, yeah, I'll destroy him. Not to the public. He knows he can. He said it to his people. But to the public, he's selling the fight.
He's a businessman.
And Carl Weathers, he's just a dang movie star.
Yes, that's a good way of putting it. He really does have that
charisma
it factor.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah.
Heard of Valley Forge or Bunker Hill? I didn't Google it. I almost did. But what are those? You know what they are?
They're battles.
What?
In the Revolutionary War.
I figured they were bad. Sorry. Or
American history, Ryan.
Yeah. Sorry, as a Canadian, I apologize.
I know.
I figured they were probably, what do you say, Civil War, were they? Or
Revolutionary
War. Revolutionary. Okay. Do you guys recall what the victory was? Or were these like against the odds type victories? Or?
Well, I know in Valley Forge, it was Washington was drastically outnumbered by the British, and they won. Bunker Hill. Listen, I was told there would be no math. I don't know what.
Yeah, these are hard questions, but yeah, I honestly don't recall either, but I would imagine just based on the context that, yeah, it was sort of like a David and Goliath type situation. But
yeah,
first of all, I'm glad you brought the sweater up because I fucking love his sweater. And I love how these are just like such little details, the way he's eating the apple with the knife. Who would have thought? That's just like such a mundane but normal thing. Like I never just bite into an apple. Ever.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, it creeps me out to like have bite and no, I have to cut it too.
Oh, wow.
My kids are the same way. Katie, you're like my children.
Oh.
Yeah, I just get in there. I just go for it.
Jared just likes to put his mouth on it right away. No prep work. Wait a minute. What are we still talking about apples? Okay.
Yeah,
Apollo, it is a coincidence that you're fighting a white man on the most celebrated day in the country's history.
I love his response, but what is that question? What is the meaning of that question? I know it's the 70s, granted, but what is the meaning of that question about fighting a white man? Again, is this American history that I'm not aware of? I know that would never be asked today, but in the 70s goes, why are you fighting a white man on the most celebrated? Is it the most celebrated day in the history because it was that year your country becomes 100? What was it, 150 or something? Or
200.
200, the bicentennial.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you guys even maybe discussed this going the distance. It's
probably
unusual because it's what is the most celebrated would be July 4th.
Yes.
Not January 1st. So that's always been a little weird. And honestly, I don't know the black-white thing. I don't know what that has to do with it.
Because black-white fighters happen. I mean, Chuck Wepner, Ali happened before this. I'm confused why This reporter was probably fired after this conference, probably. Like, why would you do this? Why would you bring up race?
Do you find the sort of the blocking of this scene weird where the reporters are like 2 inches of everybody's just clumped? They're not like sitting in an audience or anything. They're just right there next to them.
It's budget. It's all budget.
It is.
They made it crowded to seem like it was crowded. That's the thing. There's nobody outside that shot, but I think we're led to believe that it's just a crowd of people. This is a huge, like the Rocky 3 and 4, the Rocky 2 and 4 conferences. We had all these reporters in the rows. You had this big setup. They can't afford to have the set behind the podium or in front of the podiums. We had to put the reporters right with the actors. It is absolutely ridiculous. They had no budget.
Yeah.
Well, to your point, Jared, too, they're blocking Rocky.
He's like behind these guys.
Mm-hmm.
That might be intentional. The idea that he's an afterthought.
Yeah, for sure.
Because this reporter's right. It is kind of weird. They're right in their faces asking these questions. Now, this is what you would have after
weird.
A fight with everyone in the ring. Mm-hmm. Rocky says something at the end of the film. Rocky or Sly says the best line in the Rocky films that I don't know how many people catch it. So here's my trivia question. It might not be in the book. What does Rocky say to one of the reporters when he's calling for Adrian? Specifically about the mics. So they were like, hey,
give me some space or get this out of my face or something?
Yeah. I don't know the exact quote, but he says, I've had enough things in my face today. And I love that line. He's so mad at the people. He's got the mics in his face. He's like, I have enough things in my face today. He has had enough things hidden in his face for the day. That's just a subtle little moment as he's calling out for Adrian that I just love. Louise has a couple comments here. Valley Forge was the rough winter camp for the Americans where they endured starvation and terrible weather.
Okay.
Bunker Hill was the first real battle of the American Revolution. The Brits thought they would just run through the Americans, but ended up with a very hard-fought victory that set the tone for the American resolve throughout the war. There you go. Wow.
Well, thank you for bringing some knowledge to the podcast.
Thank you, Louise. Thank you, Louise. And Donald says that maybe it refers to the rise of black people in the 70s regarding the the black on white stuff. So that guy was a racist, essentially. That's what. Yeah. But then I love Paul's comeback. Great comeback.
I don't know about that. Is it a coincidence that he's fighting a black man on the most celebrated day in the country's history? Right on. Tell the truth, brother.
Right there. Look at right on, Paul. Tell the truth, brother. Did you guys ever catch that before?
No, I don't think I did. I'm too busy looking at Rocky and Adrian's interaction.
And that's just it. And that's what I love about the captions. I always recommend if you're a movie fan of whatever movie it is, and you haven't seen that movie with captions on, but you've seen it a million times, whether it's, I don't know, Friday the 13th or whatever the film you think you know, watch it with the official captions from the film, from the DVD or from Netflix or whatever. You'll be surprised at how much subtleties you've missed because you're watching Rocky and Adrian at that response and them laughing. So you've missed the dialogue of basically it's Apollo's people saying, right on, Apollo, tell the truth, brother. Obviously, it's probably not the white reporter. it's probably Apollo's people.
Look at this, the frame that you paused on. Mm-hmm. Look how she's looking at him. Mm-hmm. He's very excited. She's just kind of giving him a glance to see how he's reacting to this stuff. I think that's a great little freeze frame.
It is wonderful.
I agree.
Look at her shirt there. It's kind of buttoned down a little bit closer to her cleavage. She's just...
Well, they may probably making out on the couch before they started watching.
That's true.
She took off her 19 sweaters.
Yeah,
I mean, like, they just share these little glances without saying anything. And she's so proud to, like, she's like, I got a man.
Yes,
and he's
got a man.
I got a man, and he's also going to be, like, kind of famous.
And to her credit, she banged Rocky before he got this big deal. So you can't say that she chased Rocky.
She locked him in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Louise here said that busted women are frisky.
What women are frisky?
Busted.
Oh.
Come on, Ryan, do it. You do it. You do it every episode.
Yeah, right now Adrian's definitely busted. I can't. I wonder how many people caught that. That's what he says. Paulie says, "I can't haul meat no more." You don't make that out without the captions. I can't haul meat no more.
I like that noise he makes.
Yeah.
What does the hauling meat have to do with anything?
I have no idea, but apparently Adrian's virginity is somehow tied to Paulie's ability to haul meat. I'm not sure.
Oh dear.
Look, this movie's flawless, but it doesn't always make sense. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We should also say to our listeners, of course, we got Paulie drinking beer, and he's just squished a can too, by the way. So this is probably not his first beer. And he's just like slouched right down in his chair. He's just looking like he's just so miserable about this whole experience. His sister is busted. Rocky's got this great opportunity. He's still working at the meat plant. He can't haul meat no more. He knows that. He hasn't announced it to the crowd, but he knows it already. He can't haul meat no more. So that's why it will come up when he's like, you need any help with anything? Here we go. So,
listen, Apollo, tell me, how do you feel about your challenger?
How do I feel about it?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Come here, Rock.
so he's bringing him to the forefront. Come here, Rock. So he brings Rocky forward. My main man, he says. My main man. I love this. Got his arm around Rocky.
And man. Rocky, ain't you Italian?
Yeah, I'm Italian.
Well, now, what does that mean?
That means if he can't fight, I bet he can cook.
Could that be said today? And I'm wondering, and I don't mean that as I don't want to get into the whole woke stuff, but is that an insult to say that Italians could cook, or is that a bad thing? I don't even know. It's a
I
stereotype.
don't think it's a bad thing. It's a stereotype, but it's not a negative stereotype. But it adds nothing, in my opinion. Like, it's like a neutral thing, in my opinion. Oh, I just recalled that it wasn't necessarily black-white, but the heritage is brought up. Apollo particularly wanted to fight. The man who discovered America is Italian, and so if I get it on with one of his descendants or whatever, so it's really more like the heritage is the play, not black and white. So I don't know why the reporter asked the black and white thing, but it was Italian. Italian was important.
Yeah. And some Italians don't consider themselves necessarily the white the way maybe I would. I listened to a guy who podcasts, he's Italian, and he actually said that. Like, he doesn't think of himself as quote-unquote as a Caucasian.
Michael Imperioli said that too, who was Christopher in The Sopranos.
Oh, right, of course. Okay.
Says that he, like, you know, when you have to check a box, he puts other.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Wow.
Okay, here we go. So here's Paulie, and now he's looking at the screen. He's kind of smiling. He's got a couple beers in him.
Do me a favor. His lungs punch out.
So there's our first indication with Paulie's hatred of Apollo right there. Do me a favor, his lungs punch out.
Why does Paulie talk like Yoda?
Yeah, exactly.
His lungs punch out. It's such a weird way of saying that. Mm-hmm. I've always found that strange that he phrases it that way.
Well, it's the Rockyisms. Like we talked about it before. No, well, Slyisms, because Sly wrote the dialogue for Paulie, but it's weird that Sly wrote it that way because he also wrote it for him like, what do you mean? What do you mean opposite? Remember he talked about that first day. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean opposite? Like, what? That's not how you say that. But we know what he meant, but Sly wrote that way for this film and for the further films, of course, where it is that weird, that can't be a Philly thing. There's no way that that's how Philadelphians talk, but do me a favor, his lungs punch out. You would say, do me a favor, knock his teeth out, or do me a favor, you know, kill him. Donald brings up a good point here. Positive stereotypes are still harmful. But when's the last time you got punched for being called a good cook? So, yeah, good point. But
That's true. Yeah, I couldn't quite put my finger on how I wanted to word it, but
I
it's
think
not
he's right. I think harmful in that it still perpetuates that stereotypes exist. So it still reinforces the stereotype because every stereotype will end up being a bad stereotype.
I guess, like, I feel like I was Italian in a prior life, and I would love to be Italian. I'm not. I wish I were, but I'm not. So that I'm like, oh, well, that's...
You can always identify as one.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, Rocky, how do you expect to fight Apollo Creed?
Well, geez, you know, Creed's the best. I guess I'll have to do the best I can.
That's awesome. You know, Creed's the best. I guess I'll have to do the best I can. Well, yeah, that's probably the best approach you could do in this situation.
Gee, thanks for helping us sell tickets, Rocky.
Yeah.
Like, he's just like, eh.
Watch this guy here. So this guy's going to ask him, how'd you come up with the name? He looks at the camera, and again, these reporters are treating Rocky like an idiot, which I don't like, which will come into play later. Watch the reporter, looks at the camera like, tell me, Rocky, just between us. And he looks at the camera like, yes, we get it. Here we go. You'll see.
Tell me, Rocky, just between us, where did you get the name Italian Stallion?
I invented that about 8 years ago when I was eating dinner.
Rocky, now your payday...
I invented that about 8 years ago. But I love how he says is he invented the name.
Invented. Mm-hmm.
Not came up with.
Well, in Paulie's facial expression, he looks over. Is he perplexed? Because he hasn't yet heard the dollar figure yet.
Yeah, the captions say, Rocky, now your payday will be $150,000, which we know is $780,000 in today money. So it's a big paycheck. So at this moment, Paulie hasn't heard that just yet. He's about to hear it. But watch what he does the moment he hears the amount, how he reacts. His brain starts spinning right away. The gears start turning in Paulie's head. How he can make money off this.
It will be $150,000. Any comment?
You got no comment, Rocky. right?
No.
No comment. Right.
I know. Any comment? Hey, you're a poor guy, right? Look at your sweater. So you're obviously poor. This is the nicest clothes you could have. Any comment?
What's wrong with the sweater? Why does everybody
No, nothing.
put the sweater down?
I love the sweater, but it's indication that
he doesn't have a suit. Is that what you meant?
Yeah, like this is the best he's got is a sweater.
Okay.
Yeah.
The thing that's so great about this whole scene is that it gives you a lot of information about these two guys without doing a whole lot of work, because, you see Rocky at this press conference. He's obviously uncomfortable. Apollo does these things in his sleep. Apollo doesn't blink an eye, but I just like how this scene communicates the differences between these guys, because Rocky is he has never even heard of a press conference before. And all of a sudden he's standing there with cameras in his face. I think it does a great job of communicating all of that character information in this one small scene.
It's an amazing scene. There's so much that goes on here.
Thank you, Rocky.
Oh,
very
wait,
much.
wait. I just want to say hi to my girl, okay?
Yeah.
Yo, Adrian, it's me, Rocky. Look at this. You believe it?
I love this.
Oh my god.
Yo, Adrian, it's me, Rocky. And look at how she's holding his arm. I love it. Look at that moment. She's so excited to hear her name on TV. Of course, Rocky knows it's coming. That's why he's like leaning forward. It's like his own reaction video, so to speak. He knows that this is coming, so he can't wait to see Adrian's face that he's called her out on TV. So he knows it's coming. That's why he's so excited here. At this moment, Rocky is not even that excited about him talking about Apollo. He can't wait to share that moment with his girlfriend.
Really good point, Ryan. Agreed. Yeah.
And he goes on to say here, because I paused it, but he's about to say, you believe all this? Microphones and all that stuff. Microphones.
That's great.
Microphones and all that stuff.
And all that stuff.
I love it. And she's just so thrilled by this.
Look at the microphone.
You didn't.
She goes, you didn't. Did you ever catch that before? You didn't. I love that subtlety there.
I don't think I have.
Yeah.
No.
So she goes, you didn't.
Did she get a haircut?
Does look.
Yeah.
I think so. I think she's dolled up. I think she's changed her hair. She's wearing looser fitting clothes or less clothes. Yeah, she had sex and got her hair done the next day. That's amazing.
Yeah.
She's a whole new woman.
That's what I did the first time I had coitus. I got a haircut. So they go, thank you, Rocky. And then Rocky kind of snaps this guy. He goes, who you pushing, man? Because he gets shoved off the stage.
Yeah. They did. What I love is they didn't edit any of this out. They just left it in.
Yeah, that's it. To your point too, Jared, about what this communicates to us is that he is still just like this bum from the neighborhood, like a street thug. He can't hide that. Doesn't know how yet.
Right. Agreed.
Yeah.
Good point.
Paulo's already gone at this point.
Yeah, he left earlier, and then they talked to Rock. But you're right, they didn't edit that out, which is why I edit, folks. That's why I can record for an hour and a half, but it's an hour and 12 episode, because not everything makes the cut, okay, guys? Just because it happened doesn't mean everyone gets to hear it. Only if you're there live in the audience should they have seen this, who you pushing, man. You think the news affiliate would have cut that out? Because we know this isn't live, because Rocky's watching it now. So you're right,
Sure.
They should have cut it out. It was a pre-tape, yeah.
Hey, man. Smack you in the mouth. Thank you.
See? Smack you in the mouth.
Smack you in the mouth.
Thank you, Rocky. They're like, yeah, thank you. Thank you, Rocky.
That's great. I didn't catch that. That's the first time I've seen smack you in the mouth.
Yeah.
Same.
I wonder how many of our other listeners have caught that. Discord people, let us know. Have you ever caught him saying smack you in the mouth?
Rocky. Well,
Don't matter, he making you out of
Paulie says here, don't it matter he making you out a fool? So Paulie's caught it. He felt Rocky looked stupid there, or it was made to look stupid there, because he was out of his element, like you're saying. So if you're out of your element, we see later in the films, Rocky's very used to press conferences, not an issue.
Mm-hmm.
This one, he's all over the place, rightfully so.
I sent
break his
him by
lips.
January 1st.
Take it
I'd break his
yourself.
lips.
I'd break his lips. Punch, as long as a punch out.
So weird.
So Louis says he's always caught that line. That's good. And Louis also shared that he shared a picture here in our Discord. That's why I always say people got to come to our Discord. I love our Discord family. Shared a picture of him at a school fair, history fair project about American history, Revolution. Because look, I knew my knowledge from the 5th grade history fair project would pay off someday.
Wow, that's a deep cut too.
Yeah.
Man.
That's awesome. That's hilarious. Or Rocky says here, don't bother me none. Now, of course, yeah. We'll find out later if it does or doesn't.
Don't bother me none.
Birthday, and
No,
already
Rocky.
people are saying it's the big
I guess you'd be looking for people to help you out.
Help what?
If this man survives,
Keep you living a clean life.
I'd say,
I'll do okay, you know.
all right, try.
Need someone to help with the exercise and someone standing by with a towel or running errands, you know that.
Hey, yo, Paulie, who cared about me yesterday, huh? Nobody. So I just think I'm going to train myself, you know?
So I love how Rocky doesn't say no to you, Paulie. He didn't want to, quote-unquote, hurt his feelings. He just said, generally speaking, I don't need nobody. I think Rocky really still believed that, but he's not saying, I don't want you to work with me, Paulie. He's saying, I don't need nobody. Because he says, where was everyone before this? You know, he's right. There was nobody asking, i.e. Mickey, which he'll address later. Of course, that will be the next episode, by the way. Which, I'm sorry, Katie, you're going to miss that episode. So, spoiler alert, our next episode, episode 13, will have Kyle will be back, and Katie won't hear, but Doug will be filling in for you, Katie. So, Doug gets to cover that scene. So, he's really looking forward to it.
Okay, so he has to really bring it with the trivia.
Yes, he'll be your substitute.
He needs to really bring his A game there.
I'm sorry, you're going to fall way behind with him. He's a lovable guy, but I mean, I love Doug, but he's like Rocky smart.
Damn it.
Okay.
Also, I like that Rocky is already, so Rocky's eating an apple, and Paulie is saying that Paulie can help him lead the clean life while he's drinking a beer.
I know.
I mean, could Burt Young look more like a slob?
And slobbing, yeah.
That he does right now, and saying, you need somebody to help with the exercising?
Just so he could run errands.
I'm surprised he would want to run errands. It seems like Paulie would think errand running was beneath him.
Paulie's the type of assistant that he would get an assistant to do his errands and give that assistant a little bit of the cut. Yeah. Paulie's trying to get a couple bucks from that $150,1976, trying to get a little bit of a cut of that. Rocky's like, oh, I don't really need any help. And now Paulie's pissed off here. Now he's like, oh my gosh, you won't give me a job with Gosel. He won't give me a job with you. Yeah, Paulie, because you got a big mouth.
Without such good people around to help, you don't have such a good chance.
Sly wanted to mention that he really loves Bert's hands. He said nobody can do the Burt hand gesture, Burt Young hand gestures like Burt Young. Like the way he's able to move his hands in the film, especially in the first Rocky film here, how he expresses himself with the hand. He goes, yeah, Burt was the best at that.
Really good point. He doesn't have like sweat to wipe off, but when he hears the monetary figure, he goes like this. He's just like, whoo.
Have you noticed 4 or 5 times he was playing with the crotch of his pants, too, in this scene? He keeps reaching down and pulling up the crotch.
I don't think I noticed that. Actually, I don't know what Burt Young's heritage is, but
it must be Italian, too, I think so.
I mean, I talk a lot with my hands, but it's another stereotype of Italians.
How dare you?
Right. I know.
How dare you?
Talk with their hands.
I do want to mention the doilies. You notice the doilies on the armrest? Have you seen that before?
Yes, it's such like their house with like the tea set and stuff. It's an interesting mixture of bad 70s with Victorian era stuff.
I just love how Paulie's allowed the doilies to even stay there. I would just assume you'd think they were stupid. But yeah, I guess they do kind of protect from the beer can. Soaks in some of the beer can moisture. I don't know. Baz in our chat says, do you think Adrian's a coffee or tea drinker? Do you think she's drinking tea or coffee in the scene?
I assumed tea just because it was like nighttime, but I could be wrong.
I think it's tea as well, but this is what Luis had to say. He said that she was a tea drinker before having carnal knowledge of Rocky. But now she drinks multiple coffees and espressos after she was busted.
Maybe she makes Irish coffee. Like she's got to booze it up.
Yeah. So Jared just had this for our listeners who don't see this. Jared just had to step out for a second, but it's fine. But we'll keep going here.
Einstein flunked out of school twice.
That's
I love that.
That's a total sibling ability to do that. That's a sibling reaction. So Einstein failed out of school twice. That's probably true, obviously. I would assume there's something to that effect. I've heard this before, that yes, the public school system and or whatever, it doesn't handle geniuses very well. He was probably all over the place, that it didn't challenge him, that he wasn't doing the proper curriculum. She goes on to say here, Beethoven was deaf and Helen Keller was blind. She should have said that Helen Keller was also blind, deaf, and dumb. She was all three.
What is dumb? Well, she was blind and deaf.
Can't speak. That's all I mean.
I think she could speak, couldn't she?
No,
I think she was just blind and deaf.
Let's verify with Jared here. Jared's a knowledgeable man. He's kind of like he's kind of like a Kyle 2.0. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, for sure.
It's weird. So Jared, you back?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Okay. Helen Keller, we're just saying that Beethoven was deaf. Yes, Einstein dropped out of school twice or got failed out of school twice. But she says here that Helen Keller was blind, but she was also deaf.
I believe mute is what she was blind and deaf. And I believe she was mute as well.
All right, here we go.
Yeah. Beethoven was deaf. Helen Keller was blind. I think Rocky's got a good chance.
I love how she's like, I've just given you 3 examples of people that are deaf, blind, and can't speak. So I think Rocky's got a good chance.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be like, okay.
Okay, yeah. Hey, Ryan, you're going to run the Olympics. Yeah, that guy who had 2 missing legs, he did okay. Ryan, I think you got a good chance. Oh, thanks. I guess, yeah.
Actually, I've heard that the prosthetics are helpful. But yeah.
Bouncy. They're bouncy.
Yeah.
All right.
Situation in the local high school level.
So Paulie's pissed off. He's leaving the seat.
Want me to get you a beer, Paulie?
Hey, you looking to do a good deed? Keep out of my freaking life.
Definitely drunk. Definitely a little bit drunk.
What did I do?
Nothing.
Did I say something?
You didn't say nothing. It's all right.
One, Paulie's got good ears because he's already in the kitchen. He already hears that quiet conversation. So now Adrian's definitely confided in Rocky. He's like, what did I say? I don't understand. So she's getting positive confirmation. Rocky's pulling Adrian away from Paulie, which is a lot of his anger is coming from this because his enablement is coming from Adrian, right? He is the way he is because Adrian didn't really stand up to him just yet, and we're going to see later, of course, in the film where Adrian really stands up to him because she's getting strength from Rocky. She's starting to realize I'm not the problem. This guy is mentally dysfunctional, an abuser, an alcoholic. It actually isn't me. I've been a victim of this guy, so she's starting to get strength from Rocky. She's saying, "Am I saying anything wrong here?" And Rocky's saying, "No, you're not saying anything wrong."
That's right, you didn't say nothing. Nothing at all.
I love his hands. You see his hands there when he does that gun pointing figure with his hands pointing down. You see nothing at all. I love the way he does his hands. I love that hand action.
Yeah, we talked about it before too when he was trying to convince Rocky to go talk to the door and get her to go out on the date, and he kept kind of
that's right.
nudging him. Yeah.
Yeah, go. You're good with that stuff. You're good with that stuff.
Funny.
Yeah. Funny.
I gotta go.
Here he's like, hey, take this apple core.
I know. I was thinking that too. I'm still pissed when he's like, just make them eat later.
Oh, also, I know. But he apologized for that. He apologized for that.
I know. But it's like, it just keeps reminding me that it's the 70s because, yeah, it's like she's the woman, so she's just like, clean up. You want me to get you a beer, Paulie?
Good old days. Love it. Gotta get a white like this. Tell racist. Probably where the freaking actually, that's me in the kitchen with Becky all the time. I don't know where anything is. I don't yell at her because she would kick me in the nuts. Yeah.
How do you not know where things are in your own house?
I'm horrible. Don't even get me started. I didn't know how to log into my bank. I haven't seen my bank account in 12 years.
No, that's not even possible.
It's a true story. I don't even know how to log in. I don't even know how to get access to my bank. I don't know how to do it. Okay.
Oh my God.
Oh man.
All right, here we go. Where's the freaking pretzels? Becky, where's the pretzels?
God.
Rocky's leaving. I love in the background. We still hear Paulie getting so mad about the pretzels and the beer. Listen to the chatter here.
I got the pretzels. Hey, you didn't have any beer? I thought you were supposed to pick up some beer.
So he's yelling, you can't find the pretzels. There's no more beer. You drank it all, you moron. That's
yeah,
why.
Exactly.
Now, you notice how they're quote-unquote cold outside? You see that, how they're cold? And it's supposed to be November, right? Yeah. I'm not sure when this was filmed exactly because there have been some cold scenes, per se. But what do you notice on the fence there, folks? What do you notice with that red there? See that red?
Is it flower?
It's flower blooming.
Roses. Do roses bloom in November, December? I don't know.
Good eye.
Thank you.
How'd you like hearing your name on TV tonight?
I was shocked. Why'd you do that?
Well, you put me on, right?
Absolutely.
Now, explain that exchange there. The way she says it, is she showing her dry humor? Because that's dry humor. I was shocked. Why'd you do that? Now, that sounds like she was angry. And then Rocky says, you're putting me on, right? Like, are you teasing me? And then she goes, absolutely. So is she? I don't know. Or is she really mad that it happened? I don't really know here.
No. She's showing her sense of humor there a little bit. Okay. That's how I take it.
It's weird, but
it's a strange exchange.
It is a strange. That's exactly. Yeah. Because if she's being funny, he isn't laughing. If she's not being funny, why is she upset? Because she laughed in the living room. So the evidence in the living room indicates that she liked it.
I was shocked. Why'd you do that? I think she was still like, it was cool. Why'd you do that? But I don't think she was angry. But then I don't really get you put me on, right? Like, I don't know.
Louise just quickly asked, I wonder if Paulie had any sexual relations post-1976. Yes, he did, because he had a girlfriend in Rocky Balboa, but that scene was cut out. He lived with his girlfriend in Rocky Balboa.
Yeah, she kicked him out, right?
Yeah. She didn't have any pretzels for him.
Well, he brings a hooker to the fight.
That's true. No, post 76.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But there was a film scene with him with a girlfriend, and she was actually on screen.
Oh.
Yeah.
What time should I expect you?
Oh, about 7.
I think you're putting me on right. I wonder if maybe by you're putting me on just means like they had a conversation about he was going to stop by for breakfast. You're having me.
I think he's asking regarding that she was shocked by it. The way she sounded. To me, the way like if I was watching that one scene cold, and if you were to bring anyone in who's never seen this film before, and you just told them, look, he just announced her on TV, like we saw the whole exchange, I would think 95% of any audience who sees this scene for the first time only with no context would say that she was not happy about him calling her name on TV. That's why this scene doesn't quite work. We conjecture around it because we know the characters. We saw but that scene doesn't work on its own as that she liked it. She thought it was great. To me, it seems like she was kind of mad about it. It goes, you're putting me on. Like, why? You're putting me on that you're upset by this? And she was like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just maybe trying to find another way of explaining. He was transitioning to a new conversation after you're putting me on right tomorrow morning when I stop by.
Let me go back. Let's just watch this whole way again. I'm sorry, guys. I know it's
How'd you like hearing your name on TV tonight?
I was shocked. Why'd you do that?
Well, you put me on, right?
Absolutely.
But then let it play. Then he says, what time should I expect? She says, what time should I expect you?
What time should I expect you?
It's not. I think it's poorly written.
Yeah.
I think again, a flawless movie with its mistakes. We definitely have script mistakes. I think we have poor writing here. Meaning, it's well acted, it's beautifully shot, all these things. But I don't think the conversation is flowing quite right for my ears. I think it's a bad segue. Where I pause it, that was that event. They're talking about the event of the TV conference. Now, this event is. We already talked about you're coming tomorrow after your run. We know he wakes up early the next morning because he has to start training for this fight. That's the first egg scene that we see coming up. He's like, you're going to see me tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. That's when you're going to see me. And that's all it is. So she knows he's coming over tomorrow.
Oh, about 7. Hey.
Now she leaves. I love that. He's like, hey, where are you going? You got to give me the goodnight kiss. Come on now. What are you doing?
Train.
Oh, yeah.
So they give a little kiss here. Now, I know they had coitus, but what I kind of like is, though they kind of, I hate to say they got it out of their system, that big tension, that buildup. I kind of like how they kind of got that out of their system. But I think there's a part of me that kind of thinks that, I don't know if they did it again until they were married. I wonder how active they were before their marriage, because that kiss there indicates kind of like, now we're back to boyfriend and girlfriend, that we're just starting to date. I think they've kind of slowed things down a little bit.
Yeah, I guess I just thought it's like new relationship awkwardness, maybe.
Yeah.
Hey. You know, I said that stuff on TV didn't bother me none.
Yeah?
It did.
Wow.
That's pretty huge, especially in the 70s. Men seemingly didn't emote much.
I think that's why Sly wrote it. I think that was the whole idea. That was to show Sly or the Rocky character's tenderness. That he has feelings.
Yeah.
He's a thumb breaker / works for Gazzo. He's a fighter. What we see in Rocky 5, it's a much maligned film, but Adrian says to Rocky, you gave him everything, but you can't give him your heart. It's just show that Rocky has a heart. He feels, man. He feels strong. I think more than anything, his heart is what is his greatest strength. And Rocky is not dumb or stupid. That he is catching the subtleties. He is catching the mocking. He's just not confrontational. So at the same time, he's kind of like, it rolls over him to a degree, but it does hurt him.
In this time period, it is unusual for him to be displaying that kind of vulnerability, especially to his brand new girlfriend. I think they both recognize at this point they're very kindred spirits. He's comfortable doing that.
It was a very tender moment, and then we get the music comes in to make it even more emotional. It's we're just like falling in love with these people. Yeah.
And I love the shot of it too. It's a real close up on the side profile of Rocky's face with Adrian blurred in the background. Then Rocky walks away and Adrian comes into focus, and she's like, boy, my guy is more. She's also seen that too. Like, he is a tender man.
She hit the jackpot. I'm sure this won't come as a surprise to you guys. Not that I speak for all women, but most women, their dream man is like a tough guy with a sensitive side. Like, we want both. Yeah.
I got one of those things. I'm not the tough guy.
For me, I would be like, dude, I literally hit the jackpot. He's hot, he's fit, all of the things. He's humble, he's smarter. Yeah, and now he's also super sensitive and loving. Love it.
Love it. We know, yeah, it's great. Lastly, from our Discord, I want to thank everyone that's joined us today. We had a few people in today. It was good to see. Baz says he thinks Rocky's been put down a lot in his life, so he doesn't quite know how to fight back, so it's just easier for him to be in on the joke.
That's a really good point.
Yeah. All right. Are you guys ready for your answers? Ready? So, Katie, do you mind keeping score for the three of us?
Yeah.
Okay. So, again, Jared is filling in for Kyle. So, I'm sorry, Kyle. But Doug will be doing it for you next time, Katie. So, I'm sorry. You'll probably get 0 out of 5 next week, Katie. I'm sorry. I can't wait for Doug to hear this. All right. Here we go. So, what is the name of the ring announcer? Now, is he just referring to Jurgens as the kind of the MC of the fight? Is that what he means by ring announcer? Or is he talking about the play-by-play guy? See, the ring announcer is, to me, the person inside the ring announcing outside the ring, or is it the person seeing the events in the ring play-by-play?
I didn't think it was the guys who are calling the fight for the radio or television.
It's the guy saying, like, Wang, X amount in this corner is so-and-so, and this corner is so-and-so. Like, that's who I assumed it was.
I know Jurgens does talk about, we just witnessed the greatest fight in the world. Kyle's actually got that memorized, I think. Anyways, so I put Jurgens, and I don't know what his answer was. What did you guys put?
I put Leroy Neiman.
I put Jurgens.
Wasn't Leroy Neiman in one of them? I couldn't remember. Like the painter?
Yes, yeah. He's
in one of them. I didn't know if it was this first
Apollo
fight or
in part 2. He ring announces the charity fight in part 3. He announces he is the winner in part 5. Okay, so here we go. Question 26 is Miles Jurgens. That's what he's referring to.
Okay, well, you guys got it then.
We just witnessed the greatest event. All right. All right, so 27. Okay, what animal is the cages that Adrian has to clear out?
Cat cages.
Cat cages, yep. True or false, Adrian is the owner of the pet store? False.
False.
I'm trying to get Gloria, the actress. I'm going to reach out to her. Yeah, I hope to get her. She's still alive. She's about Sly's age. She's interesting now. If you Google her, you'll see what I mean. She does these weird poetry readings from her own books on YouTube, and it's really quite odd, but I like to talk to her.
Okay.
What year did Rocky win the Academy Award?
Here's what I'm thinking. It won for 1976's Best Picture. The award itself was presented in 1977. I'm not sure what he's looking for, but...
Could I put 77 as well? That was the year it won the award.
Is the answer 77? Yeah. It was the year of the Academy. It was like
that's
the year of the Academy Awards.
What year did Rocky win an Academy Award? I think the Academy Awards are usually held in February, March-ish. By the end of December of the previous year, no more films can be entered for that calendar year.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm really doing piss poorly. And then if next week I'm going to...
yeah, Doug. Oh, boy. Okay, last question. Who says don't leave town? Rocky. Yeah.
Rocky.
All right.
So you guys each got all 5, right?
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Yeah, okay.
Well, Jared kind of, I would say gave me a hint, but he says, maybe, Ryan, you're overthinking. I'm like, okay, well, the announcer is Miles Jurgens. He's the only one that I can remember talking that wasn't the play-by-play guy. Okay.
Well, yeah.
I am an overthinker, so yeah. I only got 3.
You'd have the Bill Baldwin and Stu Nahan were the announcers doing the play-by-play, but I thought it was Miles Jurgens.
I conflate a lot of the fights. So I forget who, so it's like, oh, didn't Leroy Neiman do it? And then wasn't Sly's dad somebody?
He rang the bell.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so Frank was a singer, senior rang the bell. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I only got 3. You guys each got 5. I will hold that for Kyle.
Okay.
For next week.
That was a fun episode, fun-filled episode, guys. Thanks for joining us, everyone. And make sure you join us for episode 13, where Katie will be fired from the show. I'm going to rehire Kyle, and Doug will replace Katie for that. So, Katie, I don't know what you're going to have to do to make it up, but we'll figure it out.
I'm going to look very different next week.
All right, so thank you, everyone, to join our Discord. Before we leave, I just want to say, join our Discord. Support us on Patreon. What does Patreon give you? Well, I'm actually getting really good at getting those early audios out. Usually I release these episodes on a Sunday. One more round is one Sunday, then It's a Long Road is the following Sunday. So if you're a listener of both shows, that's usually how my listeners will. They'll get Ryan every week. So you get Ramble Rocky. But if you're just a Rocky listener, which is totally cool, that's why you get us every second week. But if you join the Patreon, what it does is just for $1, or as much as you want, you can donate whatever, but for $1 and or more a month, you get early edits before the listening audience, which gets you a chance to, send us an email and stuff before everyone else. And then on top of that, you're just supporting me because I financially pay for this show. On the whole, I pay for everyone's show to be online, essentially part of the network, so it supports me. Lastly, you're just saying, hey, thanks, Ryan. So if I get more than what I pay for the hosting fees, then it gets Ryan a cup of coffee. You know what I mean? Or something like that. So it just supports me. It's busking, right? This is free entertainment. So you're saying, hey, thanks, Ryan. All right. Well, with that, the episode is over.
I didn't hear no bell.